I was going to make the inside out lantern, but unfortunately the glue didn't hold up. When I put it between centers, it kind of split apart. I think that's due to all the dampness from the rain we've been having here. So my second choice, and I talked to Dane about it, is wood turning a Christmas tree and carving it too with a power carver. So we're going to do that today. So let me switch off. I'm going to go out of, I'm currently, there we go. I was looking at OBS and I should be looking at this one. So all right, so let me do the overhead here. Let's see what we've got. All right, so this is a piece of sugar pine, one of my favorite pines to turn. It's not like ponderosa pine or the kind you find in the hardware stores. This has very, very little, if any, it's really any resin in it at all. Pardon? Oh, I heard somebody. No? Okay. And this is a 4x4, and it's, I believe I cut it at 13 inches long, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, a little 13 and a half, and we've got it just after I milled it up, it's 3 1/4 inches, 3 3/4. So that's the perfect size for one of these. So first thing I want to do is grab my trusty bowl gouge here, and we're going to turn this thing around real quick. I know you guys know how to turn stuff around, so that's what I'm going to try to do here. Go do it kind of quick. If you have any questions about turning something around, just speak up, no problem. So I'm going to turn it up to a comfortable speed that's for me. It might not be for you. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a slow cut. I'm going to let you guys listen to the different sounds of the cut. Because sometimes if you turn it too slow, it's a choppy cut. It's not that you can't get a decent cut out of it. It's just you can hear that chop, and you can see that it's really chunks of pieces coming out of it just because of that. And I need to put my glove on before I go any further so I don't abrade the side of my hand here. Fingerless glove here. So I'm going to turn it up a little bit more. I'm just guessing here, the speed on my lathe doesn't work right now. So I'm probably about 1500 now. Earlier, I was about 900 before I just turned it up. And you're going to be able to hear the difference in the sound of the cut here. Sounds a lot smoother. And we're still getting chunks, but it's better chunks coming off of it. So let's see what the cuts look like here. Yeah, very nice and smooth. And we're just going to get this thing shaped. I'm going to turn it around and shape it at the same time, because basically what we need to do is just make it just a really long cone out of this. So I'm just going to start working at this end and just get everything starting to go narrower and narrower. And each time I do a cut, I go a little bit further back towards the headstock. And I'm going to go the other way. I just want to knock off those corners. Need to move my tool rest a little ways there. That way if my hand runs into it, it's not going to hit those sharp corners. Just round it over. This is a little tall for the tree I'm going to make, so I'm probably going to part it off when I make the tenon on it. So it's probably going to be parted off about right there. So now I'm just going to start doing the shaping real quick, just roughing that shape in. Need to lower my tool rest just a little bit. That's better. Now this wood comes out of the Sequoia National Forest that's east of me. And these are from fallen trees, mostly from the trees that fall in the winter. I have a friend of mine that runs a sawmill in a town that's about 30 miles east of me. And he goes up with his big flatbed trucks, and he has a permit to take these logs down, and he mills them up into usable lumber. One of these meetings, I'll show you the videos I took of his whole way of how he mills up everything. It's pretty fascinating, the equipment he has. So now I'm just going to start working on this part and just kind of get it down to almost a point. Then we can just match that curve. This is getting a little dull, I think, so I'm going to switch roughing gouges here. And I'm going to grab me my little bit of a bigger one here. Hopefully this one's a little bit sharper. It should be. All right, this one's a little bit bigger of a roughing gouge, as you can see. Yeah, this one's even duller, so I'm going to go back and grab that other one. We're almost done with this part anyway, and then I'll clean everything up using a spindle gouge.
Just throw it on the grinder.
Pardon?
Just go throw it on the grinder.
Yeah, I should. Yeah, give me a second. I'll go over here and see if I can get it plugged in real quick.
No sense in forcing it.
Pardon me for a second, guys.
No, go ahead.
Yeah.
Good.
All right. Let me grab my... Gotta get a power cord over to my grinder. I think I moved it.
Don't need an accident because he's using a dull tool.
Nope.
Oh, man, I gotta open my shop door to get to it. Give me 1 second. The power is being used for my Christmas lights right now, so I gotta move a couple of things around here. Oh, wait, here's an extension cord I can use. I can plug this in right over here. Yeah. This is a new extension cord. Let me pop this. This will be easier. Yeah, it dulled it pretty quick. Usually it doesn't dull that quick on this wood, but it can happen. All right. There we go. Got the cord. Let me plug it in, run over to the grinder and get that thing sharpened up real quick. It's already set up for grinding the roughing gouge because I was using it earlier, so it should only take a second, a couple of swipes once I get it started up. All right.
Let's see, that's enough.
I wish I had my camera set up over here to show you guys what I'm doing. I had to move a few things out of the way to do that. Make sure I've got the platform set at the right angle. Just adjusting my platform here. That looks like about right.
And next year, do some sharpening tips.
Yeah, that'd be a good thing to talk about. Just tapping my platform down, getting it. Ay, not too much. Trying to just get it centered here.
Take your time.
I do believe I got it. Good enough. So I have to run over here again. I know it's all set up and ready to go. Missed a spot there. Still kind of. Get that bevel straightened out here. There we go. That's good. Just got to get center part there done. Wow. Probably went too far again. Never fails when I'm trying to do something.
Russian.
Yeah, I'm rushing.
Take your time.
All right, I am. Slow down. That'd be a good idea to do some demos on sharpening in the next year. That'd be great.
Yeah.
All right.
Santa Claus doesn't come until later.
All right, we got it.
Santa Claus doesn't come until later.
We're back. So I'm going to switch cameras. That way you guys can see the side view here. And let's see if this is the one I... Nope. Let's see if this is the one I wanted. Not that one. There we go. You look down here in the bottom. Where am I here?
Bottom
Down
left.
there. You guys can see a side view of how I'm moving the tool around and things like that. I'm using my body to do this. I'm not going back and forth with my arms. And I need to adjust my tool rest down just a little bit more. As this thing gets a little bit smaller, we need to lower down the tool rest a little bit. There we go. Now it's cutting really well. So I'm just going to take it down to almost where that live center is, and when I put it back in the chuck with the tenon, I'll take it down to a point. And I'm going to stop right about here as far as the cone shape. And let's see if I can just clean this up a little bit. I'm going to grab my spindle gouge here and do some cleanup cuts. No, not really cleanup cuts per se, but just we need to doing some pill cuts, just take it down. Because all this section is going to become branches, so I really don't need to, make sure everything's trued up and smooth, because I'm just going to cut it all away anyway. All right, so we need to still take some of that down. Need to get this area around for this is going to be where the base of the tree is, and the trunk, and the tenon and all that. So I want to make sure we got this section all nice and round. Almost. This wood's been weathering outside for a couple of years, so it does have some weathering on it that I'm turning away. And you can see how nice and clear this pine is even after sitting in the weather for a while. Bug holes too. Adds character. Let me get this down. Just some peeling cuts. And I'm going to extend that cone just a little bit more. That's a little short for what I want to do. All right, so I'm just going to come back here and just kind of make it a little bit longer. I'm stopping my cut here because I'm going to be overhanging too far. And I'll adjust my tool rest so I can just finish those up. And smooth everything out a little bit so it's easier on the spindle gouge. All right. Let me grab that spindle gouge here and we'll clean this up. See which one I want to use here. Grab the bigger one. I'm just going to kind of ease this in. Just kind of do a A nice, slow, gentle push. We're going to mark this up with a pencil here in a moment. I'm just trying to get rid of the main bumps just in case I don't get them out when we're making the branches. There's a bump here, a bump here. Yeah, it's not quite up there, so I'm just going to take this down right there. But first I want to measure this for the branches. Okay, so the top section is going to be the longest part of the tree. I'm going to see how long of a section I got here. So 10, it's pretty good. That's what the bottom branch will come out. And then we got a trunk, that's about 3/4 of an inch. And then another 3/4 inch for the base right there. So I want to divide this by 10 by 5, so, but they're not all going to be the same. So I'll probably want at least 2 inches here. And this, I'm just going to come along and I'm just going to take a little bit less than 2 inches each time. So I'm taking like 1/8 of an inch or so, just to give me an idea of where I need to go here. All right, so this one was 1 3/4. This is 1 1/2. And then we will 1 inch. So we'll adjust it as we go, but that gives me a ballpark area of where to make the branches. Bring that back up on the wall. This is where the lines will be where I undercut for the branches. As we work our way to the bottom, that's where the branches will get a little bit closer together. There we go. And then we'll do the trunk here. Base. And this is where we'll start the tenon down here, and then we'll work our way up just so I make sure I get the right size of that using a parting tool. And then the rest of this I'll part off after we make that tenon there. So I can start making the branch on the top first.
You're going to have enough room to make a top.
Oh yeah.
Outstanding.
So I'm just going to stop this right about here for any damage that this might have caused, because when I put it in the tenon, I'm going to just sharpen that down to a point. So I'm just going to stop there. And it's going to end up being an undercut under there. So I'm going to switch. I need to switch tool rest because this one only goes so far down. It's the one that came with the lathe, and it's not my favorite for doing this. So that I can adjust my robust tool rest a little bit better. All right. So I'm just going to, oh, that's way too high still. So I'm just going to start part way down. I'm not going to start at the line. And I'm just going to start kind of just scooping this out. I'm going to stop right about there. And work my way back a little bit more. Go a little bit deeper. Not much though, because I want to leave some strength there. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm just going to start about halfway down. Come up to that line. And each time I come down, go a little bit deeper with that branch. Not super deep, but we do want to have a little bit of depth for the carving. It's going to happen. And I'm going to come back in a little bit after I get all this part done with a detail gouge. I'm going to clean up the bottom of those branches there. Go a little bit deeper here. There we go. And now I'm just looking at the curve. I don't want any straights on this. I don't want any bumps. And I do have a slight bump right here I want to get rid of. There we go. A little bit deeper. Each cut I go a little bit deeper underneath the branch. Come out on that one. And move my tool rest over a little bit here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to have 5 branches all together. So this is the trunk, the base, and the tenon. Okay, just making sure. I don't want to cut too far down in there. As far as where the base goes and the trunk and stuff, so. All right, so now I'm going to grab my large detail gouge. As you can see, it's got a very long bevel on it, right there. And I can just come in this way, and I'm just going to see if I'm on center, which I'm not. I'm going to have to bring this up a little bit. You want the point to be on center of the cut here, and we're just going to start the cut with the point. Just ease it in nice and easy. Now, if you had the point open a little bit like this, it's going to tend to escape back on you, and it's going to ruin this cut, and you're going to end up making the branches smaller. So we try to avoid that. So we just start with the point, the flute's completely closed towards the headstock. And then one more just up to that line. And we'll come back and just clean up right under those branches in a moment. Oh, right. Tool rest wasn't locked all the way down. There we go. One more. I need to lower the tool rest just a little bit for this one, because the wood is smaller diameter here. Nice crisp line. Okay. Come back with that same smaller spindle gouge here and just clean up right underneath the branches. Just nice and easy. Just tuck it right under there, closing the flute. And clean up the bottom there. I need to move my tool rest down here. Pick that up. There we go. Nice and clean right there. All right. So I'm going to work on the tenon first. So the weak point is going to be where I make the narrow part of the trunk, so that's going to be last. I want to keep as much mass as I can on here. So this will be the base. I'll cut that down a little bit, but first thing I want to do is turn that tenon down. And I've already measured with my calipers here the size of the tenon I need. Always measure your jaws first, depending on what the chuck is. And we're just going to slide that down in there. We're going to start back here with the tenon. In case I make it too small, I still have room to correct that problem as we get to the base there. So, got my parting tool. And I'm just going to eyeball it there. Just give me an eye estimate of how much I got to take off. And I'm opening that kerf up. You don't want to go straight in. You need to have that kerf open so the wood doesn't pinch your tool. A few more cuts. Just gonna soften this corner here. In case my hand hits it, it won't cut into it like a paper cut. Just a little more. And I open these calipers up a little bit for this wood because it being pine, it does compress into the jaws a bit. So it's a little bit bigger than the proper setting for the jaws. Dang, I thought I would have had it. Start taking this down now. Almost there. And this way I can just work my way up with doing that right side. Okay, the points are, see, I went a little too small there, so I need to go a little bit bigger. That's where all this little bit of extra wood comes in. See where we're at there. Okay, that's good. So I'll just work my way up for that. So I'm using a Talon chuck, and it has the serrated jaws in it, not dovetails. So I need a straight tenon here. I'm just going to cut in just a little bit deeper right here, just so I have an idea of where I need to be. A little too big for the tenon, so I need to take a little bit down. There we go. And I'm just going to chamfer that corner because those serrations, if you don't chamfer your corner there, that corner can get caught in the serrations and actually push the piece out of the jaws, which isn't a very good thing to happen. So let's take this trunk down now. So that's a little slow, so I'm going to grab me my Badan. Where are you, Badan? And this will make a little bit faster work of this. All right, there we go. I'm going to come back in and just kind of clean that up with my parting tool. I'm going to chamfer this part of the branch here. So there's no sharp edge there. I'm going to clean that up. I'm just going to undercut this branch a little bit. Let's see, I need to take this down a little bit more. And a little bit more here. Now part of the base, I'm going to be parting off right here. So I want to leave it a little taller than what I plan on using because I need to be able to trim that tenon off of there. So but I want to take this base down a little bit. It should be smaller than the branches. And then I'm going to grab my parting spindle gouge and just kind of create a chamfer for the whole thing here. Just push it forward. Go. I need to clean that up in there a little bit, so see if I can trim it up a little bit better with the parting tool. Let's stop and have a look. Now look at all those nice bug holes in there. So I'm not worried about chip out along here because that's all going to get chopped or carved away. So if I got chips on the ends, that's all right. It's going to add some of the character to the piece. Okay, so I'm going to part it off and we'll put it, I need to flatten this down here a little bit and then we'll put it in the chuck. It's kind of like a round, wasn't flat, it was domed, so that wasn't good. And I'm just going to double check that measurement one more time for the tenon before I remove everything. Yep, we're good. Make sure it's straight. Got a little bit of a bump right here. I'll clean off. All right, so now I'm just gonna take this down some. Then I'll grab a pull saw to remove the rest of it. So I'm just gonna stop right there. And I'm gonna saw the rest off of that tenon there. You don't need this thing flying out, so I left some meat down there. And it'll come out pretty quick. It doesn't take long. I need to loosen tail center up just a little bit so that kerf stays open where I'm cutting it. It's almost all the way through. There it goes. All right, so got the tenon on the bottom. We're just gonna kind of probably trim this up a little bit while we carve it to make it a little smaller there. But we're ready to go as far as that goes. Put this back up in here. Grab my chuck key. We'll get this all settled in. We'll create a point on the end of the into here. I made the tenon bigger than I thought, but that's all right. These serrations really hold this pine really well. And then we can sand it all down in this area just to get rid of any roughness and stuff. You don't really need to sand up here because we're going to carve it with a Proxxon carver. So I'm going to back my tool rest off. My banjo, not my banjo, my tailstock. All right, take that live center out because I don't need it anymore. And don't want to hit it with my elbow or anything if I reach around. All right, spindle gouge.
Take a breath, Scott.
Yeah, I need to. Let me take a drink real quick. I don't know why I feel like I have to rush. Calm down a little bit.
You
So
do a
that's
couple
pretty-
jumping jacks, you'll be all right.
Yeah. All right, so that's not running very true. So let me check what's going on there. Okay, it's not hitting the bottom of the jaws. So let's see here. It's gonna probably bring up that. Yeah, I'll bring that
It'll
tail
just
center.
look like it'll look like a Christmas tree. It was in a snowstorm.
Yeah, it's going to be wobbly. Now, the way to fix this is since I still have this top on here, I can just bring in my tail center back in. We can just move it in the chuck until that matches up, and then we can tighten everything down, and it shouldn't be wobbling around. So I didn't crank the tail center. I just got it to where it's sitting on there. Because if you push too much pressure on it and then tighten it, it'll probably go out of center again. It won't run true. So it's just there we go. Much better. Grab my spindle gouge. And we're just going to cut this thing down off of there. See, it's running a little bit off, but not much. Just take small bites. We're not in a hurry. Slow down. You don't want to take real strong bites because this is overhanging a bit. You don't want to take too much of a cut. You can pull it out of the chuck. Get rid of all that weathered part on the tip there, and then we'll adjust the rest of it. Put that down. There we go. Still has a little bit of weathered on the end there, so let me nip that off. There it goes. Okay, now we can adjust it right. That's much better. So that's all the cutting we need to do with right now. We just need to sand it real quick. So I'm going to turn down the lathe. So I want to sand this area down here. I'm just going to have a look. I might cut this part a little bit. Yeah, I'm just going to touch that with the tool, and this side tool too, just a little bit there. Just going to do like a side cut using just the wing of the tool. And round that over just a little bit. So I also undercut where the tenon is, although we are going to be cutting that. When I do cut that tenon off, I'm going to make an undercut, which will allow the tree to just sit on the outside of the base. And that cut is just going to be about half the width of my parting tool. We'll get to that point. But we're not ready for that yet. So let me grab a piece of sandpaper here. And I'm just going to clean up this part here. Underneath here. The base here a little bit. Along the side. Alright, so I'm going to cut a thinner strip of sandpaper so I can get it down in there to the trunk. Unless I have one that's already cut that small. Have a look, see here. Yep, I got one that's good enough. And you turn down the lathe a little bit more. That's still too wide. Let me trim this off real quick. And we're just going to come in here and just kind of I also want to sand the bottom of the branches only, because those will still be exposed after we carve it. This is 180. It's pretty much the most I go for this kind of wood as far as sanding goes is maybe 240, because otherwise you're just wasting your time on the higher grits. It doesn't really do anything better for it. All right. So now what we need to do is take it off. We're going to put a carving stand in here in the banjo. So we need to take it off with it in the chuck, because the chuck will screw right onto that carving stand I have. Put that in there. So the whole thing will come off. Well, there's different ways you can carve these branches. You can do, straight up and down. So I'm going to experiment for you guys on this one. So you can also create like swirls like this on the branches. Depending on your taste, you can go up and down like this. So we'll probably do a couple branches up and down, and then we'll do, on the longer branch like this, we'll do a swirl. And on this one, then we'll probably do a little more straight on the bottom there. So let me get this into here. Then I'm going to switch cameras so you guys can see this a little bit better. Let's see, I need to get that facing the other way. There we go. So I'm going to tilt this more than I usually do, just so you guys can see what's going on overhead. So, oh, it moves faster than I thought it would. I'm going to move the camera back. I probably have to see if I can zoom out a little bit more. Nope. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Let's see if I can slide this back a little bit. There we go. That's a good view of it. All right. So I'm using my Proxon. I also have my Beast here if I needed it. This is a Arbitech mini carver. It's a little overkill for this one. It's my feelings for that. So what I have here, this is a Proxon cutter, and it has a Kutzall burr in there. This is like the medium, and it's good for this kind of pine. Fine, it would just, if it was a fine bit, it'd just take longer to do. But if you had a coarse bit, it would just chop the heck out of the wood. So I'm going to switch. Let's see if I can do a different, not that one, not that one. Let's see if I can put this up a little bit. Oh, a little bit of an angle on that bottom camera there. There we go.
Right there.
Yep, perfect. That way you guys can see what's going on there and on top. So let's start this up. So I've turned it all the way down. I always do like a test cut because each piece of wood is different. So I don't want to start out at the highest speed with this like that. The most I usually go is like a halfway. I like to start my cuts first just to see how well it's cutting. If I need to increase the speed a little bit, I can. It's best to start out with it slow. So I'm just gonna tap it here, just kind of, okay, so I need to speed it up just a little bit because I'm getting some vibration out of the saw, out of the carver.
Scott,
Yeah,
Scott, what's the name of that again?
it's a Proxon.
Proxon.
Yeah. They call it the Proxon mini carver or mini grinder, but
Okay.
a lot of wood turners use it for carving. There's a lot of these different kind of saw blades and stuff fit in it. So
Yeah.
I can get the case laid after I get done with this and get the exact name
Okay.
up.
Yeah, that'll work.
I'll get that out. So I sped it up a little bit. I'm just gonna see how. See, that's a little bit better. A little bit smoother cut. And we can just kind of twist it just a little bit here, just to give it a little character to each branch. So this one, I'm going to do a swirl on it. That's the whole plan here. So I'm going to start it with it straight. I'm just going to bring it down just like that. I'm just going to keep following that all the way down. Same here. Then we can just add a little bit of touch there. I probably have to need to adjust that just a little bit when I turn it. I can just bring it up the wheel a little bit more. So if you hear a basketball, that's my grandson's out front of my shop playing basketball. You hear a ball bouncing around. Okay, so let's do a swirl here if we can. And I'm just going to do a straight one here. And then I'm going to do a swirl going the other way. And you can change it up every time you turn the tree in the carving stand. And adjust that. And we're just going to kind of just make small ones here. We can go up higher. Smaller cut. Higher cut. And I'm gonna turn the tree here in a second here, because that's about as far as I can go with it in this position. So I try to carve away most of the flat that I can. So there's a big flat right there, so I want to just kind of peel that off. Same here. And you gotta hand sand this. You can't power sand it. I wish you could. But it all takes hand sanding to get in those grooves and stuff. So I'm just gonna, oh, I forgot to do the top of that one. Get that one done here. So now you can see why I wasn't too worried about the chips. It's kind of rough. Yeah, that wood's a little punky at the top there. It's got a little bit of a rough cut there, so I just need to turn it. It's like this. I really like this one. This carving stand, because you can rock it and turn it at the same time, and it only has one handle I have to deal with. Instead of most of them have two, and then you gotta loosen one, and then you gotta loosen another to get it to move a certain way, and then you gotta tighten them both up, and it's just, you get a little
which stand is it, Scott?
This is the Trent Bosch stand.
The Trent Bosch. Thank you.
Yeah, and it's $100 cheaper than the woodcut stand that they sell. This is $160, and last I looked, the woodcut carving stand was $159 or $259. So I have both of them, but I like this one better.
Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah. So I'm just going to speed up the carving just a little bit. We can get it, most of it done. You guys can see a finished tree here. Yeah, so this part of the wood is a bit rough where I'm carving it, so that's going to take some hand sanding to get that all nice and smooth. Just going to come up a little bit higher on some of these. And then, which one did I have a swirl on? All right, so let's do a swirl on this one going the other way here. Well, it's fun to just play around with the different kinds of branches. And the swirls kind of make it look a little more natural, especially when you add some straight up and downs along with it. So you can go this direction, you can come back and go that direction. You can add a little bit of touches there. Come back and hit these little spots. Add little spots of carving there. Kind of round over some of those flat spots. So I'm just really taking my time on this one. So yeah, you can get these Proxon carvers off of Amazon or through Proxon itself. They're not as robust as, say, the Arbitech, but I'm just kind of softening those little bottoms of these carved spots. Sometimes the Arbitech can be a little overpowering for something like this. You don't want a whole bunch of horsepower when you're carving something that's a little bit more delicate than this is here. Come up a little bit deeper right here on this part. There we go. Give it one more turn. Let's see where we're at. I might have to do it 2 more turns here. Yeah, I get most of it here, and then I'll just do just a little bit after I turn it the 4th time. So I left the space flat right there so I can come back in with this. Just kind of carve that away. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. But I'm going to just create the small flat on the top coming into that. It's a little feathery. Sometimes this wood can get that way. It's just the nature of the pine. I don't know if you guys have noticed, it's got a blue streak running through it, right through here. Kind of hard to see on the camera right now. But I'll spray some finish on it, which will really make it pop out. So I'm going to speed up this a little bit faster because I'm getting to some rough spots here. The faster you go, the cleaner the cut you're probably going to get. That's my experience. I'm just doing some crossovers here. Touch that spot right there. Be right in here a little more. Almost done with this part. You can add, and depending on what you want to do, you could do this with hand chisels if you know. If you want to add little details to it after you power carve it, you can grab some those little palm type of carving chisel and add a little bit more curvature to it, a little more detail. I'm just kind of rounding over these sharp bottoms here, so I don't have to sand them later. Kind of run that edge of that blade over the bottom a little bit. All right, one more turn and we should be done.
Hey Scott, what's the wheel you have in your Proxxon carver?
That is a 2.5 inch cut. It's a cut saw.
It's a cut saw, not a saber tooth.
I believe it's a cut saw. It might be saber tooth. They both make the same kind of blades.
Yeah, the yellow looks like saber tooth, but I'll trust what you say.
Yeah, I believe I got it from cut saw. If I'm not mistaken.
Okay, thank you.
But yeah, this is a 2.5 inch, and they fit. This blade will also fit in the Arbitech mini carver too, which is really handy. And you can see resin building up in that. But the best way to clean these is you take a propane torch and just burn it out. And these things are like brand new again. That's all it takes to clean them.
Yeah, I wire brush mine first, and then if that doesn't get it, then I do the torch. But yep, you're right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you can burn that resin that gets down deep in those teeth. It doesn't. You don't have to clean them all the time. I mean, they work pretty well without cleaning them constantly. But when they get to that point, you could tell.
Yeah, you gotta clean them.
Yeah, like right here, I got a brown spot of resin right there that needs to be cleaned out. But we're good for right now. All right, let's finish the top part here. Very little to have to do on this section here. I don't, if you're in a certain point here, don't try to do your carving underneath or anything. Just stop, turn the tree. Much safer that way. You don't need to force it around. There we go. One more part here. Okay, so all the carving is done, so let me put that away over here. Now, what you need to do for hand sanding this, now they sell bristle type things that can go in your drill. I find that, well, with this wood anyway, it tends to scar it a little bit. So I try to avoid using that. So what I like to do is I just take a piece of sandpaper, fold it in half, and then I just roll it up. This will fit right in these little grooves here that you've just carved. And you can just, and it doesn't take as long as you think. This is 120 sandpaper, so it goes pretty quick. I'm not going to sand the whole thing for you guys, but I just want to show you how I go about sanding these.
Would you throw color on there, some type of dye?
Yeah, you could. You can put dye on it. I've actually spray painted these things before, and they come out pretty well. But dye, yeah, I would spray just a really, really light coat of sanding sealer on it first, because this is really, really porous, and it's going to drink up that dye really.
Right. Yep,
So
yep.
just a really, really light coat of spray sanding sealer. You don't want to go crazy with it, because otherwise it won't soak in it. The dye won't soak in at all. But just a little bit, just to give it a little bit of a hardness, more hardness to the wood, so the dye doesn't soak. Because I've dyed some of these branches I've done, and I apply the dye, and I've actually seen it just kind of fade into the wood and almost disappear. And I'm like, oh, that's not good. But yeah, that's about it for this. Let me spray some spray on it. Just so you guys can have a look at it. Spray it or oil it, I'm trying to decide. Oil, I could just come back and keep sanding it, so I'll probably just do that. Better than putting a film on it. That way I can come back and finish sanding it later on if I put an oil finish on it. That way you guys can see the two-tone, this piece of wood I got has. So, and you can see how much better it's turning round. Just getting all these little bits and pieces out of the branches there. There's no hurry, you just take your time. You can also get a really small dowel and create like a sanding stick with it if you wanted to do that.
Go into Starbucks and order yourself a coffee, and then empty all their stir sticks into your bag.
That's it. Yep. And you can just take little pieces of sandpaper, actually glue it around it. And you have a whole bunch of little sanding sticks for something like this.
And then when you're walking out of Starbucks, hand your coffee off to the next person walking in.
Yeah, they sell sanding sticks, but why spend the money when you can make them yourself? Various size of, like dowel size sanding sticks, but I don't want to spend the money on that. So, all right, let me put some oil on this so we can get a good idea of what that color looks like here. So I'm just going to use a Doctor's Wood Shop walnut finish, and I'll show you why in just a second here. Let me grab my bottle of Mahoney's. I like Mahoney's for dark wood, but for light wood like this, the Doctor's Wood Shop is better. If you can see the difference, you can see how Mahoney's has got an amber color to it, and this practically clear. So this is great for walnut and your darker woods and stuff. I use it on my walnut all the time. But if I have a light wood like this, I want to have as light of a oil as I can. So let me grab the paper towel here. Sometimes I'll use a brush to put it onto a sponge brush. It'll get down in those grooves a little easier than this. Maybe I'll do that. Let me grab a pixie cup and pour some of that in there. Get a foam brush. Where's my empty Dixie cups? There's one. All right, and little brush. I'll just use a paintbrush. That'll work too. So I'm just gonna squeeze some oil down in this Dixie cup here. You can see how clear that is compared to Mahoney's. Really clear. You just grab yourself a paintbrush and just get all this down in there.
Now you can see the sequoia. You see the pink coming through.
Yeah, I'm going to turn it in a second to where we can see it half and half. So you can see it's literally like a bluish green streak that runs through the sugar pine. It's known for that. I'm just trying to find the right spot here. So it looks like the blue part. Where are you? It kind of disappeared on me when I started oiling it. Oh, there we go. Okay. Stop it right there. So I can see it right through here on where the trunk is. So hopefully it'll come up. Sometimes it doesn't come up on camera as well as I want it to.
That's not AI.
Huh?
It's not AI, so.
No. Just keep going until we get it all covered. I'll let it soak in for a little while, and then I'll come back with not with paper towels, but a cloth. Paper towels will leave pieces of paper towel behind because it'll catch on some of these carved areas. So it's better to wipe off any excess oil with like a old t-shirt that's torn up or something. Oh, I've got a little fly on top of my tree. Mr. Fly.
Yeah, that was identified too. He wanted to be the fly wanted to be the star.
Yeah. All right, I'm trying to see where that blue is. There's a blue streak down in here. I think I keep missing it though. Look one more time. There's one right here where the trunk is. Let me crop that down. You can barely see it on there. Let me switch off the cameras or the overhead lights, 'cause sometimes it shows up better that way. Yeah, you can see it in the trunk right here. See that blue streak in there? But it's
Yes,
running.
you can see it.
Yeah, it's running all the way up. It kind of splits the tree in half. And once the oil dries, it'll be more pronounced. Once it soaks in a bit. Yeah. All right. Well,
And if a person wanted to enhance that streak, you add a little bit of iron acetate to it, or even make your own on a piece of pine. Yep.
Oh yeah. You can decorate these all different kinds of ways. I'm just putting oil on this one, but you can add dyes. You could do that like what Dane just said, and use that to darken the wood with using some still wool soaked in denatured alcohol and change it a bit. It's going to change the colors of the wood. All right, so that's pretty much my demo. So
Very good, Scott.
I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Thank you.
I did.
Very entertaining.
Thank you, Scott.
Oh, you're welcome.
Very good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I've seen so many people, it's nothing bad about it, but I saw, you see all of the same trees You know, this area is all flat and stuff. I was like, what would I should carve that.
Carving idea.
Yeah, it came
Looks good.
to me one day.
Hey, Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually, I thought that, remember when it was back on the lathe horizontally, and you were making the cuts, and the tailstock was up against your end of the wood, and there was round right there. You know what would be kind of cool? That
What's
round
that?
right there to make that the top of a cross.
Yeah, you could. Sure. So I've got this one. This is a different one. It's a little bit more dry, but it's got a more pronounced. Let me put a little more oil on this one because it's really soaked in. But this one's the blue streak in this. This is the same, came off the same piece. See if I can get this to pop. It's not showing up as well as I thought. See if I turn on the back lights back on, it'll bring it up. Now this one also has a blue streak in it. And that's not showing up on the camera. The cameras that really don't like it. But in person, you can really, it stands out. I mean, this whole section right here is blue or greenish blue. And see if I can get it to do a difference here. Oh yeah, here we go. This should work. Let me hold it up closer to the camera here. You guys can see the blue streak in there. And there's the here's the lighter side here. Then it gets more dark here. Now I wish it would show up more on the cameras, but unfortunately it's not. What are you gonna do, right? Yeah. This is one of my other ones I made, so yeah. Pretty neat. All right.
It is. Pretty neat, man. Pretty neat.
Oh, thank you.
It was. Thanks, Scott.
Oh, you're quite welcome. Thank you for you guys for being a part of this, and Merry Christmas to everybody.